Good morning and welcome to our Tourismus Namibia show. Each Saturday morning we try to quickly give you an update of the latest news of the week and also give you a couple of new ideas. My name is Frank Steffen. I'm the editor of Allgemeine Zeitung, but obviously also involved as editor of the Tourismus Namibia, our magazine that comes out every month. Some of you might have seen it. It was just published the past Monday. So I hope there's a lot of interesting reading material for you in there, but otherwise you can also go to our internet page under Tourismus Namibia. You will find plenty of stuff to read. You can go back to the old articles even. Yeah, but before we come to this week's topics, let's quickly break for some commercial news. Right, topics. I think the topic on everybody's mind was the danger of Air Namibia possibly losing its so-called air service license. This was quite a serious thing. We picked up on it early in the week. The Transport Commission gave notice to Air Namibia that it would lose their air service license. Now, if that license would have been withdrawn, then the Namibia Civil Aviation Authority would have had no choice but to also retract the air operator certificate, which is issued to those businesses that are viable in actually operating as a carrier. And so when everybody thought this was going to happen, it was due to happen on Wednesday evening, actually at midnight. But before that time came late in the evening, Air Namibia was able to get that action turned around by the High Court. So we'll have to see where this goes in the future now, because I know that one of these ICAO audits are due one of these days again. So let's hope and see that everything turns out to the best. In the meantime, also in the courts this weekend was marine phosphate. Namibia marine phosphate was back in. Most of you know by now that they're planning to, as the first operation internationally, they would like to mine phosphates from the bedrock of the Atlantic Ocean. It's been a big issue all the time, and this time we saw that people were again taking them to court. Not again, I think it was a continuation of a case where the various fisheries companies have taken them to court because they feel that any such operation is likely to endanger their continued fishing possibilities, or actually the fishing stock for the whole of Namibia. So let's see where that one goes. Obviously, the views are different depending on which side of the table you sit, and there are counter arguments all the time. And finally, this was a nice story this week. We had the K9 unit. This was the anti-poaching K9 unit that was lucky enough to have Standard Bank donate a Land Cruiser, which was specially fitted so that these animals can be safely driven to wherever they're needed. There in the blue suit, you can see the Minister Minister Pohamba Shifeta, and there are a couple of other sponsors who were there all the time. In the back, you see the manager of Nedbank, Vetumbuavi Mungunda. They were all there because what happened is the bank gave the vehicle, but there are quite a number of companies who also joined the club and got special medicine and dog food and specialized material for these guys. I remember that the vehicle has been fitted with a long-range tank but as you can see there, the dogs are actually quite happy with their new little transport vehicle. So it was a nice occasion. The minister gave some figures, and generally speaking, rhino poaching has gone down, elephant poaching has gone down, even the lion killings have gone down. So all in all, these guys are doing a great job, obviously part of the police units that make sure that our animals are actually well looked after out in the veld. And I think if we can have more of these types of news in the time when COVID seems to somehow make us only think of one thing, this is good news because we're ready to face the time after COVID-19. So yeah, those were the topics of the week that I would have wanted to present to you. We quickly take another commercial break before we go forward to destinations. Welcome back. As you can see, I'm not alone in the studio anymore. Hi, Derek Breers, CEO of In Touch. Welcome at the show.
Hi, Frank. Thank you.
Yeah, it's nice to have him here. Most of you are used to seeing Chloe Deer in here. She's not here today. Derek is going to help me through the show today. But before we go there, let's quickly see what Chloe's got to tell us.
Hello Frank, sorry I couldn't be here with you this week. We've just travelled along the C13 and watched the Namib desert sand disappear into the red Sossusvlei dune-like sand, and we found this piece of heaven in the Tarasberger mountains, and I couldn't be happier. So I guess I'm not so sorry I'm not there this week. Have a good day.
Yes, as you can see, Chloe's down in the south. She's bringing new stories, not only for the show, but also for Tourismus magazine. Derek, you obviously went up to Damaraland for us and visited the Kunene region. So that was quite an exciting trip as well, was it not?
It was brilliant, and I think the timing as well, as we were just coming out of lockdown with the COVID-19 lockdown, and over the long weekend I was privileged enough to take the Tourismus bakkie and experience Kunene.
Yeah, that was a nice one. He actually showed me the photos and he's actually prepared a video for us, didn't you?
Yes. I think what I remember most about this trip, it's been a while since I've been in the Kunene region, and but it was so desolated. The region in itself is a desolated place, but there was so little tourists. And the big thing that I do experience was that all of the Namibians came out in numbers, and everywhere we went, there was Namibians camping.
Local is lekker.
Local is lekker.
Yeah. So let's have a look at the video.
Okay, so this I took the trail from Erwe just after Kamanyap, and I entered into what I call the Klein Serengeti area. So this was just the route into before you get to the veterinary point. This is where the palm tree trail starts. I was privileged enough to meet a Himba family here, but the language barrier proved too much, and we had to communicate via hand signals. Yeah, and what was interesting about this part of the trip for me is that within, well, it's not a long distance, but within 4 hours worth of drive, I went through probably 3-4 different types of terrain. You get rocky and you get dry, and then all of a sudden you get to grassland. And then once you get into the Kovarpslucht, you get these amazing scenes. I mean, those walls, they just, every time I see them, I'm just thoroughly impressed.
And it's funny how suddenly you become very small.
Yes. And I drove probably for 3 hours before I met the first other 4x4 group. I did get across at least 2 other groups during this particular day. The trip in total was about 5 days long.
Yeah.
And it was just simply amazing.
Yeah, but that's Cocoland for you. I mean, it's actually not Cocoland, it's Cocoveld. It's
Yes.
somehow people have gotten used to calling it Cocoland. It's not. It's Kunene region, it's Cocoveld. Because the Cocoveld goes much further than only what we knew as Cocoland. It goes right down into Damaraland. That's
Yes.
still Cocoveld.
Yes.
Yeah, and so it's marvelous stuff.
Yeah, and what was nice is this trip, the first night I slept in the Kovarupslucht, and the next evening I drove all the way to Puros. And yeah, that last bit, the road from Seesfontein to Puros, it's not for the faint-hearted.
No, it isn't.
You need time. You need to enjoy the trip. Don't try to get there in
In
record
a
time.
hurry. Yeah,
Yes,
no,
yes.
then you have punctures and all that sort of thing.
Correct.
But you've got more to show us on that?
Yes, yes. Let's roll the next video and let's have a look at it.
What an experience.
And that's not even half of it.
No, that is the big thing always. If you go to Cocoveld, it really is a different life altogether. And it's funny how when you go on those first roads, you just switch off.
Yeah, yeah. No,
I mean, if ever you want to get the feeling of being on leave, go there.
That's true.
It's different because you don't have a cell phone. Nobody can talk to you. Nobody can interfere with what you're doing. No, it's marvelous. Anybody who really wants to have a different holiday, and if the off the beaten track is your thing, go to Cocoveld. It really is. So you did have a good trip.
Oh yes, and I came back refreshed, reboot, Control Alt Delete,
Yeah.
Format C. It was a good day.
So the only thing is we had to buy a new bakkie. No, thanks, Derek, for being here. But before you go, just tell us a bit more about what does InTouch do.
Well, InTouch is a digital interactive marketing company. And to give you a good example, at the moment we're rolling out the C19 registry solution. So every time you go into a shop or a place of business, you need to fill in a register. Sometimes the pen is sanitized, but they can't sanitize the paper. So you still got that risk of transferal of any type of bacteria or viruses. And with our new solution that we're now currently putting in the market, you can literally have contact lists registering and signing into businesses. So it's innovative ideas like that and solutions that we bring to the market that, apart from our queuing systems, digital signage, websites, mobile app designs, etc., etc. So if you've got any marketing requirements and anything in the digital space, that's us.
Yeah, we always talk at NMH about the RSVP program.
Yes.
It's typically, if you come to the Namibia Tourism Expo, you will see that you're automatically taken up into the system. You can actually, ahead of time, you'll get your invitation and you can actually register and make sure that you're part of the various competitions. Those are all things that InTouch does for us. InTouch is obviously part of Namibia Media Holdings. So if you have anything, and make no mistake, we're planning to engage with InTouch to a large extent this year at the Tourism Expo. When we do these live shows, we're trying to get that direct feeling. You might remember I spoke about it previously, where we will have direct contact with the exhibitors, those who take part in what we wish to do, is so that if you visit a stand, you can literally have that live feeling, actually engage with the lodge or whatever institution they're marketing. So that will all be taken care of by InTouch. But we'll speak again, I'm sure.
Will do.
Thank you for coming in.
And thank you for the opportunity. Thanks,
Right,
man.
and that brings us to the end of this part of Destinations, and we've still got to the point.
Ain't nothing but a party going on in here. Ain't nothing but a party going on in here. Ain't nothing but a party going on in here.
Hi, this morning we are talking to Miss Zina Swanepoel. She's together with her husband, James. They've got Mutoya Lodge, which is up in Zambezi, in the Zambezi region. So, hi Zina, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Welcome onto our show, and yeah, tell us a bit more about your area. What's going on?
Okay, thanks for inviting us to interview. We're based just outside Caprivi, about 24 kilometers towards the Ngoma border. We have a smallish lodge. It started off small, but it's getting bigger every year as we go along. We have 14 rooms. We're on the backwaters of the Zambezi. We're not on the Zambezi, but close by. We have boats on the Zambezi and on our backwater.
Okay.
What else do you want to know about us?
No, I actually wanted to know, with this COVID thing going on, I hear that the Zambian border has just opened up again, and we were just wondering, how's it going? How's it impacted on your region, and how do you see it getting better from here on forward?
Well, it's been really bad for us, because with Botswana, Zambia being closed, which are our main ports of call, people coming through to visit or leaving Namibia, there's been nobody for since the 22nd of March, I think, when all the stuff happened.
Yeah.
Most of the lodges here have had no guests, so we've had a lot of retrenchments going on, a lot of people going away on unpaid leave and that sort of thing, and it's been really, really tough. Just speaking to the people that work at our lodge here, they said that there's a lot of young people that have been laid off in town and moving back to the villages, and they're just hanging around doing nothing, which is a big concern because that's when crime starts as well. So yeah, things have been really tough here. Zambia has just opened up. So the people coming through are actually Namibians that have been out the country and been trying to get back. So they've managed to get back into Katima, but they're having to do the quarantine. So they've been put around town, and I think there's about between 50 and 60 people in quarantine at the moment.
Wow. Okay.
But otherwise, the lodges, forget about tourism. It's too far for most people coming from Windhoek. They just find it too expensive to travel all the way up here.
Yeah,
so who's going to travel like almost 2 days to get here to spend 2 or 3 days? It's just too far and too expensive. So we can't rely on local tourism at all. So it's been tough.
Yeah, but when things are going well, you're obviously part of CASA, aren't you?
Yes, we are part of CASA. The problem with CASA is they don't really interact with the private sector. It's all government and CASA. They're the ones always working together, and they don't really liaise with any of us on the ground here and ask us what we need or what should be done. So I think with CASA, we all in the dark as to what's happening there. But we're hoping things will happen in the next year or two, but still we don't know really what's going on there.
Okay, so the ministry or NWR and those guys, they don't really talk to you about CASA. You just hear about it as much as I do.
No, they've just brought out, well, they're bringing out a brochure, a CASA brochure, which is the first time that they've actually liaised with the private sector, with the lodges, to say, would you like to be in the brochure, and if you could just give us your activities. But that is the first we've heard of anything with CASA in the last, how many years have it been going? 5, 6, whatever years.
Yeah, it's been going on for a while, but they've only started really promoting it in Namibia for about a year and a half now.
Yeah. We feel like the Zambezi region is like the forgotten cousin of Namibia.
Okay.
when tourists fly in or government is doing anything, they're always focusing on like places like Etosha, Sossusvlei, Walvis Bay, Swakopmund, and all those places where it's easy for guests or tourists to fly in, travel, and leave again.
Yeah.
And so there's just no focus on the Zambezi region because it's so far. It's just like we feel like we're neglected, basically.
Yeah.
Especially like places like with NTB. We feel like NTB doesn't actually give us enough focus when it comes to marketing.
Okay,
So
but I can tell
yeah.
you this much: we at Namibia Tourism here at Tourismus Namibia, the magazine as such, we've spoken about the Zambezi quite often now, and we actually make a point of promoting not only Zambezi but also the Kavango area, because we also felt that it's actually a jewel because nobody goes there that much, and so there's less traffic. If you want to have a holiday and really enjoy a peace of mind and not be overwhelmed by people running around the show, then we always felt Zambezi is the right place to go to.
Yes, that's especially for the Zambezi region. It's because it's not mass tourism like you're getting the huge buses going to Sossusvlei. You come here and you could be the only car driving around Mudumu or Babwata. So it's beautiful here, and it's just so underrated. If people would just get in their cars or book their tickets and come to the Zambezi, they'd be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And we always have people coming through, just passing through, that want to go off to Chobe or Vic Falls or wherever, and they'll book a night here, and they'll say, oh, we wish we'd spent more time here. It's just so beautiful. Next time we come through, we're going to book at least 3 or 4 nights.
Yeah. But what I can tell you is that we've got a planned focus edition for CASA next year. So when it comes closer to that time, apart from us always talking about Zambezi, we'll be sure to actually make sure that CASA becomes part of you, and you become part of CASA, and that people start understanding. Because what we're trying to promote from this side, not really promote, but to invite people to understand exactly what you've just been saying. Don't pass through, make it part of your holiday, and actually stay over for a night or two.
Yeah, and if they want to go to Chobe, use that as their last stop to fly out. Don't use it as their main destination.
Exactly.
Because there's just so much more in the Zambezi region. We have just as many animals, and you know, and the bush is just fantastic, and it's so untouched.
Yeah,
and the bird life, we have over 400 different bird species.
Yeah, we actually brought Chloe on the show, who's previously shown us a couple of photos about the bird life there, and it is really, it's truly amazing, some of these birds. Especially the numbers. Tell me quickly, with the past rain season, are some of your are the areas flooded again or not? Because the last photos we still made of that area, it was really quite dry.
Yeah, last year we had a flood, but this year last year we had a drought, and this year the floods were up. It's not as bad as they were in 2018, but we had beautiful floods this year. Okay. So the farmers are happy, the cattle are happy. A couple of the lodges got a bit of flood, but we're fine, we'll survive it.
Yeah,
it's normal for us.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's part of what you are really, is it not?
Yeah, but during the flood, it's the most beautiful time to come here. And people don't travel here during the floods, and I can't understand that. It's the bird life is fantastic. And
Yeah.
just to go on the river during the flood, you're in paradise. And
Okay.
people would just think about that and come here and experience it. Something
No.
I'll never forget.
No, for sure. We'll be sure to promote Zambezi, and we'll be sure to include you, especially because we've been there, so we know what it looks like. So hopefully we'll speak again.
Okay, great. Thanks for having us.
And thank you for making time for us.
All right. Thank you so much, Frank.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay, good. Bye.
Welcome back. Just a quick thing here. You just saw an ad which we gave to, which we presented to. It was for the competition Tourist of the Year. Now you will recall that I previously spoke about that, and the important part here is for you to actually now take the opportunity and take part in the competition. It's a very new idea that we've got. So for the Tourism Expo, we do not intend to only have you visit the stands and actually experience all the lodges live. And like we said, we want you to have a live experience at the Tourism Expo this year. Pretty much to promote tourism, local tourism as such, but also to give you a better experience and make you understand what you're letting yourself in for if you go and visit these places. So what we're trying to do is we're promoting this, what we call Tourist of the Year. And you will see it in the Tourismus Namibia, in the magazine, and you are shortly going to see pretty much of it on all our electronic sites as well as the papers. In other words, Republikein, Allgemeine Zeitung, and Namibian Sun, and even on Windhoek Express and Irongo. So it's up to you, really. We're looking for people who would like to record what they're doing. Show us. We'll actually have a weekend sponsored for you. Vivo Energy came on board. They're providing the fuel so that you really can go to these places if you're one of the people that are selected. And you need to present us an experience. In other words, what about all the excitement when packing? What about the planning, the journey to these places? Where did you stop? Surely will be Shell service stations. How do you experience it? What did you do there? What were you able to still buy and sort of pack before you finally arrive at your destination? Then once you're at the destination, what are you doing there? Live videos, photos, whatever. So we'll even help you present it at the end of the day. But you need to have a certain understanding on how to do, to actually record videos and do all that stuff. And then at the end of the day, you will promote that site which is allocated to you. And the person who best presents that site will ultimately be selected at the Tourism Expo. So the visitors will actually vote for you, and the person who gets the most votes will then ultimately have a big cash prize still. So this is just to explain the advert that we just showed you. And you're welcome to send your videos and the material just to convince us that you're the right person. Send it to 081 17 000 30. That's the WhatsApp number of Allgemeine Zeitung. So if you want to just check up on the number again, just look on the Allgemeine. There's a WhatsApp number noted there. 081 170 0030. Yeah, and that's just the Tourist of the Year competition. But we've got more for you. Yes, and that brings us to the end of this show. But before we go, as we always do, we would still like to present you with the photo of the week. And this time we've got a quite impressive photo from Jan and Nicole. I'm not quite sure where it is, but I would be tempted to think that it is on Gava, because I had a similar experience there in the past. But this is a magic photo which they sent quite some time ago already, but nevertheless it's impressive all the same. To be as close to an elephant like that, there's a certain magic and danger to it, and somehow we all like it. But when they're gone again, you're actually quite, you feel that it's an exhilaration at the same time as being thankful that nothing ever went bad. So yeah, this is a magic experience for anybody, I'm quite sure. Nice photo to have made, so close. And with that, we come to the end of the show. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you next week.